money must go back to serve those who pay taxes.
Well, let's stay with the newly installed government of provincial unity in KwaZulu-Natal. We speak now to the Westville Ratepayers Association, which has long been at loggerheads with the City of Ethekwini over the lack of water, among other service delivery failures. Let's speak now to the group's Asad Gaffar. Mr. Gaffar, good evening to you, and thank you for your time. I want to borrow from the Premier's words there today. He says, "We are your servants, not your bosses." Do you take that message to heart, and what do you think it means or it will mean in practice?
Look, those are good words. They're warm words. We expect to hold him to those words. I've had the opportunity of meeting Mr. Tami Mchuli in one of the debates, and he's a committed person, I have to say. And if you look at the IFP as a party and where they've governed, they have very good, strong governance features. So they do take, their positions quite seriously. I think it will be good for the province. This change came at the right time. Service delivery across the province is an issue. We haven't just been at loggerheads with Ethekwini municipality. In fact, our issues were taken to the Minister of KwaZulu-Natal in KZN. And, she didn't respond. I mean, we've petitioned her on many, many occasions, and there was absolutely no response.
Yeah.
What's exciting for me is the new incumbent person coming in, Mr. Thulasizwe Buthelezi, as the new Minister of KwaZulu-Natal. And I'm hoping that he comes in with fresh insights and fresh spirit of wanting to revive and wanting to hold municipalities accountable, because I think that's very important. If you look at his track record, it speaks for itself. He's a highly educated person, and I hope that he takes his job seriously. If not, we will hold him accountable.
To your mind, having fought this fight, particularly with the Ethekwini municipality, you making specific reference to the MEC of KwaZulu-Natal, who doubles up as the Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation. Talk to us about what you think is most needed, particularly in Ethekwini. What should his focus be in the delivery challenges there?
Look, our primary concern, not just for Ethekwini, but for the entire province as a start, is the water issue. We've been talking to all relevant stakeholders for a very long time now. We've got communities around Ethekwini, we've got communities outside of Ethekwini, we've got communities in the province that do not have access to piped water. And it's a serious concern. I mean, 30 years into democracy, and we have people picking up water from rivers or collecting from tankers. And some of these individuals are elderly persons looking after grandchildren. It's totally unacceptable. And, he's given commitment that every cent collected from the taxpayer will be used for providing service delivery to communities.
Yeah.
And that's all we're asking for. I mean, most ratepayers and taxpayers have no issue paying their rates and taxes, provided that the money is being spent correctly. I think people, misunderstand this notion that ratepayers are just disgruntled and just like to cry foul. Our biggest gripe with the Ethekwini municipality was the fruitless and wasteful expenditure. They haven't been spending money in the right place, and for us, that was a big problem.
Yeah. Mr. Gaffar, there's something quite significant about what the Premier of KZN has announced today, and I want to preface it this way. Targeted killings and crime in general in KwaZulu-Natal is on the rise. So what the Premier has done today is to announce that the community safety portfolio is going to be moved and it is now going to reside in his office. What do you think he's trying to signal there?
Look, that kind of a move is not the correct one, in my opinion. I mean, there are people that have responsibilities, they have a portfolio. He shouldn't be taking on unnecessary roles. What he should be doing is holding each of those persons accountable. Let them do their job. A good manager is not someone who rolls up his sleeves and sticks his hand in the dirt. He's a person who can delegate and he can get the best out of his people. When you look at the individuals that he's put around himself, I mean, and that's what a good leader would do. He would surround himself with good people in order for him to be very effective. I know most of the individuals that he's taken into his cabinet. These are individuals we have interacted with. Some of them not so much, but I mean, it's a good mix. We see the ANC there, we see the IFP, we see the DA, and each one of those persons must deliver on their mandate. They are not. It's ridiculous that you can go and sit in an office from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and not deliver a single stitch of work. That would be totally unacceptable. This province needs to work. There's lots of potential. I mean, we all know KZN is the gateway to the economy of South Africa. Durban being the port, a major port and a major player to boosting the economy. And we must capitalize on that. So we're hoping, I mean, I'm hearing talks that they want to move the legislature back to Lundi. I mean, that shouldn't be a priority. Focus now is on service delivery. Let's get things working. We can focus on moving the legislature at another stage, but moving it to Lundi shouldn't be first prize. I mean, it just goes back to showing that egos are coming back into play, and that's what we don't want to see.
Yeah. Whilst we are on the crime matters, at about 8, this is in the next hour, I'm going to be talking to the Provincial Commissioner of the Police. This is Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. What do you think of his crime-fighting strategy at the moment, and what kinds of questions do you think, as residents, you want him to answer to?
Look, I mean, he's a no-nonsense guy. I mean, you guys know in the media, I mean, there's talk about what's been happening, especially in KZN. In fact, IPID is actually focusing on that particular issue because what's happening, or what has been happening in the past, was that SAPS members were losing their lives when faced against these criminals. And they've taken a no-nonsense approach, and a lot of these criminals have lost their lives, so to speak, and quite a significant amount in KZN. So his stance and the police stance on criminality and not backing down, so to speak, is moving in the right direction, because we have to reduce crime. We cannot allow crime to go unabated. I mean, just this afternoon in Westville, the community were they were afraid and they didn't know what was going on. They could hear automatic gunfire, and they started to question, and nobody had the answer.
Yeah. And
it turned out that it was a funeral ceremony taking place in a cemetery close to Westville. And we know that when gangsters funerals are taking place, they fire these automatic weapons. But that's illegal, and that needs to stop. We can't allow this sort of behavior to continue. So the fact that the SAPs are taking this hard stance, and across the country, so to speak, because again, crime does affect the economy. It's really a serious problem.
Let me thank you very much for your time, Mr. Gaffar. Asad Gaffar is with the Westville Ratepayers Association, giving us their thoughts on the new government of provincial unity.